fee to facilitate their U.S. listing. Now, I think the shares traded as high as about $14 today before then being halted due to this upside movement. And then now trading at about $8.90 a share. I mean, it's falling a little bit, so seeing some weakness following that circuit breaker, but still, a strong, I would say, public debut. Now, really, we saw a slowdown earlier in SPACs this year, and why I think Buzzfeed is really worth mentioning today is that it pushed some digital media companies who considered going public through a SPAC to actually stray away from the deal, like a name like Vice. So these digital companies today, it was expected they'd be very closely watching how investors reacted to really Buzzfeed's debut trading to see, how that market is currently for SPACs. But, this is an interesting name. Buzzfeed, I think of the quizzes. I think of taking notes in college and being on Buzzfeed and actually taking a quiz to find out, what my zodiac sign says about me. I mean, I'm embarrassed to admit that. I know they're a news outlet, but their quizzes are top notch.
I thought I was going to find out which Harry Potter house you were in or something, something along those. But I was probably a Slytherin, to be honest. Not proud of that, but it's probably true. ENFA is what it was before. Bzfd, as you mentioned, traded up to about 14.77. As low as 8 even. It's currently 8.98. We'll watch it. Jenny, it's trading decently in terms of volume, about 5 cents wide on the bid ask, though, so keep that in mind. But over 3 million shares, all things considered, that might even be kind of on the lighter side for a debut of a company. But we've watched volatility sort of normalize in the name as the day has gone on. It's really traded between about $8 and $9 for really the last 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So maybe starting to find its groove here around that range. Yeah, Monday IPO, or not IPO, but Monday public listing interesting because I feel like we're starting to see, some slowdown in things. But I mean, that all things considered, they actually said that their SPAC would actually cut their listing time by 75%. So this was expected to be a benefit for them. And I actually didn't even mean to, but I mentioned college and Buzzfeed quizzes, which is a perfect segue to our next conversation. I sat down with Carrie Schwab-Pomerantz, who's the managing director at Charles Schwab and the president of the Charles Schwab Foundation, to discuss 529 plans, college planning, and all that good stuff. Take a listen. Carrie, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jenny.
So parents have a lot of financial pressures when it comes to raising kids today. So why should they prioritize saving for college when they have other, say, more urgent needs?
Well, first of all, retirement has to be your number one goal. But assuming you do have the extra money and college is really important to you, it's easier to save for your child's college education if you start early, because you can get the power of compound growth. You save and you invest over more than 18 years, and that's the way you could at least contribute somewhat of a significant amount to your child's college education. But be sure you cannot sacrifice your retirement savings for college, because with college, your child can get a scholarship or a loan, but with retirement, you can't do that.
So what exactly is a 529 account and how does it work?
It's a separate tax-advantaged account, similar to your IRA, where that's going to be a separate account. This is just a separate account specifically for college expenses. And anyone can contribute and anyone can open up the account. And it's a great opportunity for grandparents or aunts and uncles to contribute to for your child's college education.
So what kind of expenses does a 529 account cover?
It covers post-secondary expenses, basically college or apprenticeship programs. And it also covers tuition, room and board, laptops, and books. And also, in the most recent tax laws, you can take $10,000 and use it for K through 12 expenses and to pay off student loans.
So what happens if you save in a 529 account and your kid decides to not go to college?
We'll remind you, you can, pay for vocational school or apprenticeship program, first of all, but you can also change the beneficiary on the account. So you can have a niece or nephew or another child use the money for their college, and you can actually even use it for yourself. But if you don't use it for qualified college expenditures, then there is a 10% penalty on the earnings.
All such good takeaways for long-term planning. That was Carrie Schwab-Pomerantz, Managing Director at Charles Schwab and the President of the Charles Schwab Foundation. Thanks again for joining the show, Carrie.
Thanks for having me.
Good stuff, a great conversation. Timely around the holidays, we start considering things getting ready for the New Year's resolution season. But when we come back, it's time for Under 30. We're going to talk some WeWork, another stock making a recent public debut. Things haven't gone so well for it so far. We'll talk more right after this short break.